All right, this one, folks, as they like to say, is for all the marbles, at least when it comes to the Georgia Bulldogs. The challenge is how to slow down the seemingly unstoppable LSU defense, with their offense, I should say, with its not your average Joe quarterback. But if anybody can do it, perhaps it is Georgia, with the #2 scoring defense in the country. You know, Chris, one of my best friends went to Georgia. Her husband went to LSU. I want to know if they're watching the game together.
That would be difficult.
Right?
Yes, it would.
It would be, because one's going to be very angry. Okay, so sitting at 11-1, Georgia is on top of the SEC East, 4th in the college football playoff rankings. You beat LSU, you got to be in. You lose, you are out. Just a few minutes ago, we heard from Georgia head coach Kirby Smart.
Safety's got to do what the call says. I mean, it's not about the safeties. If they're in empty, the safety's probably going to have to cover somebody. If they're not in empty, the safeties are going to have to be run fitters. They're going to have to be box players. They're going to have to do the things we've done. The offense we're facing is not different than every offense we've faced. It's just really good. So the safeties got to do their job. And that's really what football is. They're going to get put in situations to cover one-on-one. They're going to get put in situations to tackle one-on-one. They got to do their job and do it really well.
Kirby, kind of along the same lines with those safeties, it seems like Richard and JR are about the only guys that aren't rotating in and out, throughout the game. What do they bring to this defense in terms of being that consistent presence that's on the field just about every play?
Well, it's like a quarterback. I mean, the guy in the back behind everybody has to make decisions on what goes on in front of them, and you want the guys making the best decisions possible, and they get the most reps at that. And we play the best players here. We put the guys out there that give us the best chance to win, and certainly think JR and Richard have earned that right and do a good job of putting us in the right defenses.
Coach, you talked Saturday about how much you love James Cook with the wide receiver issues you guys have. Can you move him around? What skill set does he have that maybe we could see him in the slot or somewhere like that? Yeah, he's a talented football player that you're trying to find ways to get him the ball. He's elusive with the ball in his hands and does a good job in his route running. He's a guy that we've talked about all year. He's a really good running back, and you can't lose sight of the fact that he can line up back there and run the ball really well, and just finding ways to get him touches.
Hey, Coach, is there an update on DeAndre Swift's injury going into next game? I think it's pretty important.
Yeah, we're hopeful that he's going to be able to play.
Kirby, in the film you've seen on LSU, what have they done so much differently defensively to where they're really on a roll now compared to how things looked for them in September when they were giving up a lot of yards and points?
It's not so much what they've done defensively different. They're playing better. They're playing better as a unit. They're rushing the passer. They had a lot of sacks the other night, and they got some packages on third down where they've got linebackers rushing who are really athletic. They're playing better. I think they're playing more with a purpose. And sometimes when you get called out or maybe you're playing a better team, they played well in some big games. I don't know where all the criticism comes about their defense, obviously probably from the Ole Miss situation, but that was completely unique. It was unique to Ole Miss. It was very different what they do with the quarterback they have. So that's not something that you just say, well, they struggle against this. That's not what everybody does. That was a very different style offense.
Coach, in big games, you haven't been shy about calling a fake punt or a fake field goal. I know you'll tell me if the look's there, you do it, but you still have to make that final call. Where do you get the guts to call that? Where does that come from as a head coach?
I think you just work on things. You're always looking for an advantage. No different than Jeff Collins and then last week with Georgia Tech. You're saying that if I get an opportunity to steal a possession because I think someone's unsound or not ready for something, then you try to give your kids a chance to win. You saw it last week in Auburn and Alabama. It was not a trick play. It was a maneuver to get an extra possession, and they gained an extra possession at the right time, and that's big. So I think anytime you can find some advantage, some ability to do that, it's important to do it. It's got to be calculated. You got to understand why you're doing it, and you hopefully going to be successful at it. Otherwise, it doesn't look real good.
With Cager out and Pickens out for the first half, do you have to add any or give any extra motivation to the rest of the receivers? And what's your biggest challenge to that group for this week?
No, it's very similar to last week. As far as, hey, guys, you're going to get an opportunity to play. step up and make plays. We had some guys do that. We had some guys catch balls that haven't caught balls in a long time or very little all year, and they made some good plays. And you're going to get one-on-one opportunities when you play in our offense because of the run game. So you got to win your 50-50 opportunities. You got to take advantage of it, and it'll be very similar to last week in regards to not who we're playing, but the guys on the field.
Based on what you've seen so far, what makes Clyde Edwards-Helaire so difficult to play against?
Baller. I mean, he is a football playing machine. When they cut out a running back, he makes the best football tacklers in our conference miss. So when you got football players that are playing against him from Auburn, Florida, Alabama, and he's making a miss, you get immediate respect with the toughness that he runs with. And, I mean, the kid he's got an incredible drive and ability and willingness to break tackles and toughness that I just respect. He plays the game the way it should be played. And you know what? They play him an awful lot because he's really good.
Coach, you mentioned multiple times throughout the season you like to get James Cook the ball more. What have been some reasons why he hasn't been utilized more? He
has been utilized quite a bit. When he's been healthy, he's been out there a good bit. Some of them are what we call PROs, which I've talked about before. So they're controlled by what the defense gives us, not by touches necessarily for him. In the last couple of weeks, we've given him a few more carries. It boils down to us really saying, all right, who are the best football players that give us the best opportunity to win? And he's at a position where it's more shared. To be a wideout and go out there and play wideout, that's not a natural position for him. So the things he's able to do, the things he's really strong at, are best around the backfield. We happen to have other strong guys in those areas. So we're trying to find ways to get him the ball.
All right, Kirby's smart. Not only smart when it comes to football, he's also smart with his music.
Is he,
you know
though?
who Quavo is, Chris?
I don't know Quavo.
He's from Atlanta, the ATL.
Oh, well, that's why he likes him.
Yeah.
Right?
He's into the hip hop. Okay, here's what we got to talk about, though. The very important SEC championship. This is a game we have been looking forward to weeks. It determines pretty much everything. Do not miss it. It is going to be at 4 Eastern on CBS, the SEC on CBS. LSU favored by just 6.5. Chris, you want to make a pick early in the week?
I think Georgia can cover that.
Okay, there you go. Don't miss it.